Welcome. Tonight, let your mind drift into the quiet corners of the English language. You're about to hear a collection of rare and beautiful words, each one chosen for its uniqueness, its sound, and the way it settles gently on the tongue. There's no story to follow, no plot to remember, just a slow, peaceful unfolding of language, designed to lull you to sleep. The images will stay dark, but whimsical. The words will flow, and all you have to do is listen. Let's begin. Rad, electric catfish. Rabana, raffia fabric of Madagascar. Rabbit, groove cut to receive an edge. Rabble, device for stirring molten iron in a furnace. Rabelaisian, coarsely hilarious. Rabic, of, like, or pertaining to rabies. Rabulous, scurrilous. Racemation, cluster or bundle of grapes or any other thing. Racemy, central stem with flowers on small stalks. Racemiferous, bearing clusters or bunches. Rach, dog that hunts by scent. Rachidian, of or concerning the spine. Rachiometer, instrument for measuring the spine. Rachis, spine or axis of a feather, the spinal cord. Rachitogenic, causing rickets. Raciology, study of racial differences. Rack rent, excessive rent. Racloir, scraper used by early hominids. Raconteur, teller of anecdotes. Radapatization, treatment of food with ionizing radiation to kill bacteria. Radarscope, instrument for detecting radar signals. Raddle, flexible rod used to make hurdles or fences. Raddle, red ochre used to make marks. Radicated, rooted, established. Radiciform like a root. Radicivorous, eating roots. Radical, root-like organ or pot. Ridiculous, living on roots. Radiesthesia, sensitivity to radiation from any source. Radiogenic, produced by radioactive disintegration. Radiogoniometer, instrument for finding direction through radio signals. Radiography, use of X-rays or other radiation to make images. Radiology, study of X-rays and their medical applications. Radiometeorograph, instrument for measuring atmospheric conditions at high altitude. Radiometer, instrument measuring radiation energy. Radioscope, instrument for viewing objects using X-rays. Radiosonde, radio transmitter in balloon used to gather weather data. Radix root, root number or numerical base, root word or stem. Radula, coarse, scraping, raspy. Raduliform, like a rasp or file. Rafale, burst of artillery in quick rounds. Raffish, disreputable, vulgar. Ragabash, idle, worthless fellow. Raglan, having sleeves going all the way to the neck. Ragmatical, wild, ill-behaved. Raguli, in heraldry, having short alternating projections and depressions. Railophone, telephone installed in a train. Raisonneur, person in a play or book embodying author's viewpoint. Rake, the inclination of a mast or another part of a ship. Ramage, boughs of a tree. Ramate, branched. Ramil, of, like or pertaining to branches. Ramelos, having small branches. Ramentum, chaffy scale on plants. Rami, strong lustrous fabric resembling linen or silk. Ramiferous, bearing branches. Ramiform, branching, shaped like branches. Rampallion, scoundrel, villain. Rampant, heraldic animal portrayed on its hind legs. Rampic, dead tree or tree decayed at top. Ramuliferous, bearing small branches. Ramulus, small branch. Ramus, branch of anything. Ranarian, froggy. Ranarium, place where frogs are kept. Ranselman, local constable or law officer in Orkney and Shetland. Rancescent, becoming rancid. Rand, border, edge, margin. Randon, uproar, din, riotous conduct. Random, with 3 horses in single file. Rangeophorine, of, like or pertaining to or like reindeer. Raniform, frog-like. Ranine, of, like or pertaining to or like frogs. Ranivorous, eating frogs. Ranigazoo, foolish nonsense. Rantipole, wild, disorderly. Rantize, to sprinkle with water during baptism. Ranunculaceous, of, like or pertaining to buttercups. Raploch, coarse undyed woolen cloth. Rappel, call to arms by the beating of a drum. Rapprochement, establishment of or state of cordial relations. Raptorial, predaceous, of like or pertaining to a bird of prey. Raptus, trance, rapture, seizure. Rarissima, extremely rare books. Raz, headland. Rashel, light loosely kitted cloth. Rash, smooth silk or worsted fabric. Rasiphor, lowest rank of Greek Orthodox monk. Rasorial, scraping the ground for food. Raster, pattern of parallel lines or grid used in certain scanning devices. Rasure, act of scraping, erasure, obliteration. Rataplan, drumming sound. Ratel, honey-eating old-world badger. Rate meter, instrument for measuring counting rate of electronic counters. Wrath, prehistoric hill fort. Rath, quick, early, eager. Wraithripe, early ripe. Raticide, substance or person who kills rats. Ratihabition, ratification. Ratine, rough, bulky, plain-woven fabric. Ratiocinate, to reason or argue logically. Rationalism, belief that reason is the fundamental source of knowledge. Ratite, of, like or pertaining to flightless birds. Ratline, small rope forming a rung of a rope ladder on a ship. Rattan, to practice sabotage against. Ravanastron, ancient Hindu stringed instrument played with a bow. Ravelin, detached work with 2 embankments. Razzmatazz, meaningless talk. Hype, nonsense. Realism, doctrine that objects of cognition are real. Reest, to become rancid. Rebarbative, repellent, repulsive. Rebatement, abatement, reduction, discount. Rebec, medieval musical instrument like a mandolin or viol. Rebont, marked by reverberation, resounding. Rebellition, act of boiling up or effervescing. Rebus, picture puzzle representing a word. Recadency, relapsing, falling back. Recoalesce, to display again a state of glowing heat. Recaption, reprisal, taking back that which is unlawfully obtained. Resense, to revise critically. Recept, idea or image formed by repeated similar perceptions. Receptacular, serving as a receptacle. Recherché, carefully chosen, rare or exotic. Recidivism, habit of relapsing into crime. Recipiangle, old instrument with 2 arms used for measuring angles. Reciprocornus, having horns that turn backward and then forward. Rescission, cutting back, rescinding. Récit, solo part for voice or instrument, narrative tale. reckling, smallest or weakest of a litter. Reclaim, art or practice by which publicity or notoriety is secured. Reclinate, bent down or back. Recoct, to cook again, to concoct, to improvise. Recondite, out of the way, little known. Recreant, craven, false, apostate. Recrement, waste, dross, secretion that is reabsorbed, excess matter. Recriminate, to charge one's accuser. Recrudescence, a resurgence after a period of abatement. Rectalgia, pain in the butt. Rector, correctly, which should be. Rectigrade, moving in a straight line. Rectiserial in vertical ranks. Rectitudinous, manifesting overly obvious moral correctness. Recto, front side of a book leaf, on the front. Rectrix, quill feathers of a bird's tail. Recumbent, reclining, lying comfortably. Recure, to cure, to heal, to bring back to health. Recusant, one who refuses to attend Catholic Church services. Nonconformist. Redact, to edit, work into shape, to frame. Redan, field fortification with two parapets meeting at an angle. Redarg, to refute, to confute. Redendum, reserving clause in a lease. Rede, to counsel or advise. Redhibition, return of defective product and cancellation of sale. Redintegrate, to make whole again, to restore. Redivivus, resuscitated, come to life again. Redolent, fragrant, smelling of, suggestive of. Redoubt, rough and temporary fortification. Redoubtable, formidable, valiant. Redound, recoil back on, make contribution for own benefit. Redshort, brittle at red heat. Reductionism, belief that complex phenomena are reducible to simple ones. Reduit, inner fortified retreat for a garrison. Reebok, small South African antelope. Reedbuck, antelope frequenting reeds. Reef, to reduce area of a sail by rolling or folding part of it. Reel, lively dance of the Scottish Highlands. Reeve, to pass a rope through a ring. Refection, refreshment or relief. A meal. Refectory, dining hall of a monastery or other institution. Refel, to refute, to disprove, to confute. Reflation, increase in amount of economic activity and spending. Reflectography, method of revealing hidden drawing lines beneath painting. Reflectometer, instrument for measuring reflectance of radiant energy. Reflay, iridescent or metallic luster. Reflexology, study of reflexes. Refluent, flowing back, ebbing, tidal. Reflux, an ebb, boiling using a condenser to avoid liquid loss. Refossilate, to refresh, to cherish. Refractometer, instrument measuring refraction of light. Refractory, unruly, unmanageable, perverse, obstinate, refrangible, that may be refracted. Refringency, refractivity. Refugium, area that has retained earlier geographic conditions. Refulgent, casting a flood of light. Radiant, beaming. Regal, a small portable organ. Regalism, doctrine of the monarch's supremacy in church affairs. Regardant, in profile and looking to the rear. Regulation, freezing together again. Reginal, of, like or pertaining to a queen. Régisseur, stage manager, director, manager. Regius, royal. Regalmentation, regulation. Wrigle, strip for spacing between lines in printing. Regnal, of a rain. Regolith, layer of loose rock overlaying solid rock. Regorge, to disgorge, to regurgitate. Regrate, to buy and sell again in or near the same market. Regrede, to retrograde. Regreet, to exchange greetings. Regadan, to reward. Regular, rule of a religious order. Regulus, impure metal, intermediate product in ore smelting. Reinfund, to flow in again. Rejectamenta, refuse. Excrement. Rejoinder, sharp and clever answer. Relash, relaxation. Rest, no performance. Relationism, doctrine that relations between entities, space, time, are themselves entities. Relative, indicating relation or a prepositional object. Relativism, doctrine that knowledge and truth are relative to contexts. Reliabilism, theory that justified belief is reached by reliable cognitive processes. Relict, left behind, surviving. Reliction, recession of sea-leaving bare land. Relegate, to tie together, to restrain. Reliquary, a small box or shrine used to hold relics. Reliquia, remains. Relucent, reflecting, shining. Relum, to light or light up again. Remnant, a remainder, a remnant. Remanent, postponed case or parliamentary bill. Remint, returning, coming back. Remex, quill feather of a bird's wing. Remiform, oar-shaped, remigate, to row. Remititia, act of sending case from appellate court back to trial court. Remonstrate, to protest, to expostulate. Remontant, flowering more than once per season. Remora, delay, obstacle, remotion. Separation, removal, removal of a person from an office. Remuant, restless, fidgety. Remure, person who turns the bottles in wine-making. Renal, of, like or pertaining to the kidneys. Renascent, coming into renewed life or vitality. Rencounter, chance meeting, encounter, casual combat. Reniform, shaped like a kidney. Renitent, resistant. Reluctant, recalcitrant. Renography, radiographic examination of the kidneys. Renverse, to reverse, to upset. Rep, plain woven fabric with crosswise ribs. Repetend, figures, words, notes or numbers that are repeated. Repine, to feel or express discontent or dejection. Replevin, repossession of stolen goods pending outcome of lawsuit. Repository, side altar in Catholic Church. Repousse, raised in relief by hammering from behind or within. Reprehend, to rebuke. Representamen, the product of representation. Representationalism, doctrine that ideas rather than external objects are basis of knowledge. Reprobate, reprehensible or immoral person. Reprography, reproduction of graphic or typeset material. Reptant, creeping, crawling. Reptation, act of squirming along a smooth-walled narrow passage. Repugn, to fight against, to oppose. Repunit, number consisting of two or more identical integers. Requiem, lament or mass for the dead. Requiescat, prayer for the dead. Requital, act of payment in return. Repayment, vengeance. Re-rebrace, armour for the upper arm. Re-rideaux, screen behind altar. Re-remosi, bat. Rescript, answer of pope or emperor to any legal question, edict or decree. Réseau, réseau de lignes utilisé dans les photographies en étoile. Resection, cutting away a part of, especially the end. Resient, resident. Resile, to recoil, to rebound, to draw back from a position. Resiniferous, bearing resin. Resinography, study or description of resins. Recipiscence, recognition of error, change to better frame of mind. Resistentialism, humorous theory that inanimate objects display malice towards humans. Resofincula, resembling a wire hanger. Resorb, to absorb back, to reabsorb. Respirometer, instrument for measuring and studying respiration. Respondentia, loan on ship's cargo, payable on safe arrival. Responsory, set of responses sung or said after liturgical reading. Restiform, shaped like a cord. Resupine, lying at the back. Ret, to expose to moisture, to soak, to soften by soaking. Reatable, shelf or ornamental setting for panels behind an altar. Rete, network or net, stylized star map of an astrolabe. Retiree of nets, using nets as a weapon, catching insects in webs. Reticella, old Venetian lace-like fabric. Reticello, glass formed with decorative network of fine glass threads. Reticle, set of intersecting wires used to facilitate accurate observations. Reticular, of, like or pertaining to nets, intricate. Reticulate, divide or be divided into a network. Reticule, small woven lady's handbag. Reticulose, of the nature of a network. Retiform, shaped like a net. Retinaculum, connecting band, means of retention. Retinize, to read mechanically by sight alone. Retinoid, like resin. Retinoscope, instrument for measuring and viewing the retina. Retiracy, seclusion, enough to retire on. Retorse, bent backwards. Retrad, backwards. Retrahent, drawing back. Retral, at or toward the rear. Retrie, slightly damaged paper. Retrenchment, cutting down on, reduction in amount of. Retro, in the past. Retrocede, to move back, to cede back, to grant back. Retrochoir, space in choir behind high altar. Retrocognition, extrasensory knowledge of past events. Retrograde, moving or directed backwards, degenerating, inverse. Retrogress, backward movement, degeneration. Retroject, to throw backwards. Retromancy, divination by looking over one's shoulder. Retromingent, urinating rearwards. Retromorphosis, change for the worse. Retronym, new name as modification of older term used alone. Retrophilia, love of things of the past. Retropulsion, pushing backwards. Retrourse, turned back or downward. Retrousse, turned up, especially of the nose. Retrovert, to turn back. Rev, to run an engine before bringing it into use. Revalescent, convalescent. Revalorize, to give new value to restore value of currency. Revanche, revenge, policy directed towards recovery of territory. Revahent, carrying back. Revendicate, to make formal claim to try to retrieve lost goods. Reverse, any part of a garment which is turned back. Revest, reinstate, reinvest. Revet, to face with masonry. Revetment, retaining wall. Revie, to stake more than an opponent has proposed on. Revirescent, growing young or strong again. Reviviscent, reviving. Revolute, rolled back at the edges. Rhabdoid, rod-like. Rhabdology, knowledge or learning concerning divining rods or numbering rods. Rhabdomancy, divination using a rod or stick. Rhabdos, magic wand. Rhadamanthine, like a stern judge. Rhabosis, curvature, bandiness. Rhagades, small fissures or chaps on the skin. Rhamphoid, hooked beak-shaped. Rhapsodomancy, divination by opening works of poetry at random. Rathymia, personality factor leading to optimism and cheerfulness. Reed, substance that flows viscously when below its melting point. Rima, word, verb. Rhematic, of words or verbs, forming a word or words. Reme, speech element that expresses an idea. Rheography, measurement of blood flow. Rheology, science of the deformation or flow of matter. Rheometer, instrument that measures current. Rheophile, living or thriving in running water. Rheostat, instrument for measuring electric resistance. Rheotaxis, direction of movement by water. Rheotropism, change in orientation or location of an organism due to running water. Rhetoricaster, petty rhetorician. Rheum, watery discharge from eyes and nose. Rheumatology, study of rheumatism. Rhexis, rupture of a blood vessel. Rhegosis, sensation of cold, ability to feel cold. Rhinal, of, like or pertaining to the nose. Rhinocerial, very heavy. Of, or like a rhinoceros. Rhinocerotic, of, like or pertaining to the rhinoceros. Rhinogenous, deriving from the nose. Rhinology, study of the nose. Rhinoscope, instrument for examining the nose. Rhinotilexomania, compulsive nose-picking. Ripidate, fan-shaped. Rhizic, of the root of an equation. Rhizogenic, producing or growing roots. Rhizoid, root-like. Rhizome, root-like stalk or stem of a plant. Rhizophagus, root-eating. Rhizophilus, growing or thriving on or near roots. Rotramatics, science of inventory management and the movement of products. Rhodopsin, visual purple. Rhomboid, shaped like a parallelogram. Rhombos, bull roarer. Ronchial, of, like or pertaining to snoring. Ronchisonant, making a snorting or snoring noise. Ropalic, having each word one syllable longer than that before. Ropography, painting in still life. Rhotacism, excessive or incorrect pronunciation of the letter R. Rhubarb, nonsense, actor's nonsense background chatter. Rum, compass point. Rhinchodont, having a toothed beak. Rhyperography, genre, or still life pictures of sordid subjects. Rhypophagy, eating filth. Rhysimeter, instrument for measuring speed of current or watercraft. Rhythmometer, instrument for measuring speed of rhythms. Rhytidectomy, wrinkle-removing operation. Rhyton, drinking cup with hole in the point to drink by. Rhea, normal drowned valley, long wide creek. Riant, laughing, merry. Rebebe, an old crone, past the age of sexual attractiveness. Rictal of the gape of the corner of the mouth, rictus, gaping mouth, orifice. Riddle me ree, nonsense language. Rideau, ridge or mound of earth used for defence. Riddell, altar curtain. Riddant, laughing or smiling radiantly, beaming. Ridgeling, half-castrated animal. Ridibund, easily moved to laughter. Ridotto, social gathering with music and dancing. Riem, rawhide thong. Rifacimento, recasting of a literary or musical work. Riffler, small file with curved ends used in woodworking. Rigadoon, lively Baroque period dance. Rigescent, becoming numb or stiff. Rigidulous, somewhat stiff. Rillet, small brook or stream. Rillmark, marking produced by water running down a bank or beach. Reamer, narrow fissure, rimiform, having a long furrow. Rimose, full of chinks covered with cracks, rimple to wrinkle. Rindle, small watercourse. Ringant, gaping. Rincomania, obsession with skating. Rheometer, instrument for measuring absorbed cosmic radio waves. Riparian, of or inhabiting a riverbank, a riverside inhabitant. Ripionist, supplementary instrumentalist. Ripieno, supplementary or reinforcing music. Ripple-toothed tool for removing seeds from flax or hemp. Reek, Middle Eastern tambourine. Risible, laughable. Risorgimento, revival, rebirth. Risorial, of, like or pertaining to or causing laughter. Risus, a laugh, a grin. Ritornelle, short instrumental prelude or interlude in opera. Ritmaster, captain of a troop of horse. Rivage, shore, bank. Rivel, to shrivel, to shrink. Rivulation, irregular marks of colour. Rivulos, marked with winding and haphazard lines. Risiform, shaped like a grain of rice. Roach, curved cut in edge of sail for preventing chafing. Roadster, light carriage. Roband, piece of yarn used to fasten a sail to a spar. Robinet, ancient light cannon. Roborant, strengthening drug or tonic. Roborate, to strengthen, to corroborate. Roberian, strong like an oak. Rober, hard-wooded oak. Rock, enormous legendary Arabian bird. Rocaille, artificial rockwork or similar ornament. Roche, rock or cliff, a rocky height. Rocher, surplice-like vestment of a bishop or abbot. Rockaway, light four-wheeled carriage with fixed top and open sides. Rodenticide, killing of rodents. Rhodomontade, bluster, boasting, bragging speech. Röntgen, unit of X-radiation or gamma radiation. Roentgenography, imagery or examination using X-rays. Rogation, asking or supplication, especially in an ecclesiastical sense. Rogatory, asking for the intervention of a foreign court in examining a witness. Rollick, exuberant jollity to frolic gaily. Rolly, truck, trolley. Rom, a gypsy man. Romage, tumult. Romal, handkerchief or headcloth. Silk or cotton fabric. Rondo, poem of 13 lines. Rondure, gracefully rounded curvature. Rude, cross or crucifix at entrance to church chancel. Rude, old unit of land area equal to 1/4 acre. Ruge, to push or lift with effort. Rooibok, impala. Rooihebok, reddish South African antelope. Rookery, state of confusion. Rawback, defamatory falsehood published for political effect. Roric, dewy. Roriferous, producing or bearing dew. Rorqual, large whale with dorsal fin. Rorulent, dew-covered. Rosarian, rose fancier. Rosarium, rose garden. Rossid, dewy. Roseaceous, of the rose family. Rose-like. Roseate, resembling a rose. Overly optimistic. Rosella, bright-coloured Australian parakeet. Rosette, knot or radiating loops of ribbon concentrically arranged. Rosin, resin applied to bows for stringed instruments. Rosmarine, mythical walrus-like sea animal that feeds on dew. Rosorial, rodentine. Rostal, small beak or similar outgrowth. Rostelliform, shaped like a small beak. Rostrum, platform for public speaking. Conductor's dais. Rostrum, spike on prow of warship for ramming. Rotor, roster, rotometer. Instrument consisting of glass tube with free float for measuring liquid flow. Rotometer, old instrument for measuring length of curved lines. Rotiferous, bearing rotifers. Rotocracy, government by those who control rotten boroughs. Rotograph, photograph made by laying negative on sensitive paper. Rotac, rubbish, nonsense. Rotula, kneecap. Rotundate, rounded off, orbicular. Roturia, plebeian. Roue, man devoted to life of pleasure, rake. Roulade, melodic embellishment sung to one syllable. Rounce, handle for moving carriage on hand-printing press. Rouncival, a large boisterous woman. A mannish woman. A lesbian. Round, dance in a ring. Roundel, anything circular. Circle, disc, ring dance. Roundel, round metal disc used to protect joints of armour. Roundlay, song with a refrain. Root, poultry disease. Rousette, fruit bat. Rowel, small, spiked wheel on a spur. Rowan, second mowing of grass in the same season. Aftermath. Rowlock, contrivance serving as a fulcrum for an oar. Royal, small sail on royal mast just above topgallant sail. Rua, Maori pit for storing root vegetables. Ruana, South American cape or poncho. Rubaboo, pemmican broth. Rubashka, Russian peasant shirt. Rubedinous, ruddy. Rubfaction, reddening. Rubfi, to redden. Rubescent, growing red, blushing. Rubicon, of a horse, black or red with flecks of white. Rubicund, ruddy. Rubiginous, rusty-coloured. Rubigo, mildew, blight. Rubinetto, faucet. Rubeous, ruby red, rusty. Ruber, redness of body part due to excess blood. Rubricality, ceremony, rubricate, to mark in red, to fix like a ritual. Rubricist, one who adheres closely to liturgical rules. Rubster, lesbian. Ruche, frill of lace or other material. Ructation, the act of belching. Ruction, disturbance. Uproar. Ruddock, European robin. Rudenture, architectural moulding in the shape of a rope. Ruderal, growing in wasteland or among rubbish. Ruderary, of or relating to rubbish. Ruderate, to fill or cover with small pebbles. Rudicle, small spatula or spoon. Rudstay, strap over horse's back to which a wagon can be attached. Ruelle, space between bed and wall. Rufescent, inclining to redness. Ruffianize, to behave violently or brutally. Rufus, reddish or brownish red. Rug, coarse woolen cloth, rugot, wrinkled. Rugelach, crescent-shaped Jewish pastry. Rugible, capable of roaring. Rougine, surgeon's scraping instrument. Rugus, wrinkled, covered with sunken lines. Rugulus, having small wrinkles. Ruiniferous, bearing many ruins. Ruiniform, having the form or appearance of ruins. Rully, flat four-wheeled wagon for carrying goods. Rullion, a rawhide shoe. Rumbustious, boisterous. Rumchunder, fine silk. Rumfustian, hot alcoholic drink made from rum and various spices. Rummer, large drinking glass. Runagate, fugitive, vagabond. Runcation, action of weeding. Runcinate, having irregular saw-toothed divisions. Rundale, system of holding land in single detached pieces. Rundle, rung of a ladder. Rundlet, old liquid measure equal to about 15 gallons. Runnel, little brook. Runology, study of runes. Rupellary, rocky. Rupestrian, composed of rock, inscribed on rock. Rupicaprine, of, like or pertaining to chamoises. Rupicaline, rock dwelling. Ruptile, easily breakable. Ruridecanal, concerning a rural dean and his jurisdiction. Ruriginous, living or born in the country. Rushlight, a type of candle dipped in grease. Russell, ribbed cotton and wool. Russet, coarse, homespun cloth. Russet, reddish-brown. Russophile, one who admires Russia or the Russians. Russophobia, fear of Russia or Russians. Rusticate, to send into the country, to banish to rural areas. Rusticity, rustic manner. Simplicity, rudeness. Ruth, pity. Remorse, sorrow. Rutherford, unit of radioactive decay equal to 1 million disintegrations per second. Ruthful, piteous, sorrowful. Rutidosis, wrinkling. Rutilant, shining, glowing ruddily. Raya, colourful Scandinavian knotted pile rug. You've just wandered through a quiet garden of forgotten words, each one a whisper, a rhythm, a resting place for your thoughts. There's no need to remember them. They were here only to guide you, gently, into stillness. If you're still awake, that's okay. Just let the silence wrap around you now. And when sleep comes, let it be soft and full of wonder. Good night.